Good morning. This is Norma Cowie for this Wednesday. It's Norma Talk. Now, we've been doing the numbers through the tarot as just numbers, and today is number 8. Number 8 is a very interesting number for me, and I find whenever it comes up, whether it's a birth path, whether it's a personal year, whether it's just in your birth numbers, I always take a look at how I actually draw it, because that gives me a more, I should say, a more awareness, a bigger sense of what that number is going to be, because it has to deal, as far as I'm concerned, with the balance between your spiritual / philosophy of life and the material world. And, at some point you might want to just sit down and get a piece of paper and just draw an 8 and see what it looks like. Is the bottom part bigger? Is the top part bigger? Is there a top very often in the top, a part of the upper part? There's often a gap. So what it does is tell you or gives you a sense of how balanced you are in relation to, excuse me a sec here, in relation to your spiritual philosophy connection to your material world. For me, the idea that they are balanced is really, really important. So here we are. I'm going to share the screen with the number 8 so that you can see them. And so here we are. And now, as I said, number 8 is about balance. But if you remember, as we work through these, number 8 and the wands is our ideas. Now, you'll notice for most of these, except for the pentacles, that they're all the figures, you could say, of wands, cups, and swords in particular, are all pretty well together. They're clumped together. In the 8 of wands, this is like whatever's coming in is coming in. And now, if you can think back to the ace of wands, where a 1 wand comes, and then there's the river of life and the castle of dreams. If you look in the background of this 8 of wands, the castle of dreams is there, the river is there, but they're in the distance. So this is saying this is coming, but it's not here yet. So you're having to be patient. You're having to wait, but it's close. Oh, yes, it's so close because it's all coming. Now, the 8 of cups. Now, cups, remember, are more your emotions and how you're acting and reacting to that. And what we see here, if you think back, you've got 2 connections here. You have the 5, which was the sadness from the 5 of cups, and you have the 3 from the celebration. And so what's happening here is he's turning away and he's leaving the sadness and the good stuff. Strong red back. The drawing here shows the red as strength. He's got a staff. He's crossing the river of life into who knows where. Now, the sun and the moon in the sky is very interesting. It's almost like the sun is there, but the moon is also there. So what we're looking at here is transition. This is where you get to leave behind the past, whether it's been good, whether it's been not so good, whether it's been sad, whether it's been happy, and you're moving into a different way. And this is part of the growth pattern of growing beyond just the circumstances. So the 8 of cups really is about strength. It's about purpose. It's about direction, but it's also about leaving behind the past, leaving behind whatever's come forward and moving into an unknown. And very often when this symbol comes up, several other symbols, if you're doing a bigger reading, will also coming up showing the same thing, that we're leaving behind the past, moving into the future. Now, the 8 of swords, again, we see on one side the 3 of swords, which was disappointment and hurt. And on this other side, we're seeing the 5, and the 5 of swords is the conflict. So, but this person that's staked here, because it's obviously a stake she's on, wrapped around with very loose binds, And the river of life is what I always say is like a few muddy puddles. And the castle is right behind her. I gave this particular symbol the title of temporary problems. And why that is because she needs movement. If she wiggles, those bindings would just fall away. So she needs the movement. She needs movement and to move out of the circumstances. Now, these are not great circumstances, but you got to change your perspective because the castle of dreams is right there. So if you can change your perspective, then you'll be able to get out of whatever the situation is and turn around and say, oh, I got to go that way, or I've got to do this. And you're going to see much, much, much clearer on how you can achieve. But this is a depressive card. This is a card where you can be depressed and stuck and feel like nothing is ever going to change. So, actually, we see this in quite a number of the symbols where action is necessary to get out of a state of mind that you're in. This is one of them. This is one of them that you need to do something for sure. Now, in the Eight of Pentacles, we have 6 pentacles displayed. One is being worked on, and one is already waiting on the ground. That also hasn't been displayed yet. Now, pentacles and the material affairs, those are the things you can feel, see, and touch. Ideas are just ideas, and feelings are feelings, problems are problems. But in the material world, you can feel, see, and touch. And so this is the workman working away. His castle is behind him. It's more like a big townhouse, but it does have the spire going up. So again, castles always reach kind of high in the air. Happy with his work. He is doing what he needs to do. So what do we have here within these 4 lower cards is you may not know it, but in the wands, but things are coming together. In the cups, the past needs to be left behind. In the 8, you need some movement so you can change your perspective. And then in the pentacles, it says, keep on going. You're on the right track. Things are coming together very, very well. It works really good. But it's when we get to the higher arcana, and I'm going to, doesn't quite go what I want. I wanted to really expand that a little bit because these are the real biggies. Now, number 8 is the strength card because we're looking at 8s, right? Now, what have we got here? We've got a lady, a woman, I guess I should say, not just lady, a woman. She's got the infinity sign like the magician. Now, I had break down when I'm teaching this 3 lots of 7 in the higher arcana. And so in the 7, it's getting ready to move forward. Here, they're aspiring like above because they know now how that works. And taking and taming the lion, like anybody in their right mind isn't going to go pat a lion, especially. But look at his tail; he's submissive, and around her waist is this beautiful red roses of desire. So she's working with what she desires, and in the background is this little hump here. You may remember a little bit of this shows up in the Lovers symbol number 6. But here she's aspiring above to bring down her strength, her purpose into the material world. This lion is the material world. She's bringing that down into the material world. She's working with the material world. And she has the strength to do that. And that's come from the knowledge of the first 7 higher arcana cards. That journey of when you're learning about it. Now, let's look at the star, number 17, and of course 7 and 1 is an 8. Here you get to see about the balance. When you're in the star energy, a star shines on its own light. It radiates its own essence. And what you've got here is one bright yellow star in the front, surrounded by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stars, not 8. The big one is the 8. So here we have the 8 stars, the number 8. going by their own energy. But to me, in this symbol, is the main thing is the balance. She's naked, kneeling on the ground, meaning she's anchored, one foot on the water, the emotion, and she's pouring one jug back into the pool. And look how much it is. It's big. It kind of rotates more. And then she's got this other jug and she's putting it onto the ground, and it breaks into 5 different streams. One of them goes back. What I found when I was really looking at the star and learning about the star, I found out how important it is in relation to your own growth. We get knowledge, we have knowledge, we create knowledge, we learn knowledge, and we take it and we put it inside. But the main thing is that you still have to keep working with yourself. So you put your energy out, but you must also make sure some comes back. You cannot give it all away. Now, there's lots of things. This shows up in Six of Pentacles, where you don't give everything away. Again, I know, I can't remember the story in the Bible about that, but I know it's there. It's like not learning, you share, but you don't ever give away your basics. You've got to look after yourself. You've got to keep growing. And this star shows that. It's like we've got to keep growing. This little bird here has a significance in your conscience and your awareness within the little birdie that talks to you, sits on your shoulder, that kind of says this is what to do. But here it's like showing who you are, sharing what you know, but at the same time realizing you're still on your journey. It's not like you're at the end of the journey. You have enough knowledge, you have enough awareness, you've just come through death symbol, the devil symbol, and you're working with yourself still in a different way. And that's what that 8 talks about, is the balancing point, how to bring the balance together. Now, I think you've seen all the pictures here, so I'm just going to stop this share and come back to me here. Now, you might want to say, well, how come this is really significant, this number 8 and the balancing point? If you do not have a philosophy, and this is one thing I find very much now, especially with younger people, they don't seem to have a philosophy. They haven't been taught, like many of us were when we were young, the difference between right and wrong, or, etc. So it's like there's no real framework from which they have to work from. If I want it, I can have it. Or I don't want to work, so why should I? The little different attitudes that are there that we would not have thought of all when we were younger. So it's about this balancing of recognizing that there is a power in this universe that's there. Now, I call this the love source. You can call it whatever you choose. It's a loving source that's not judgmental. It loves you and wants to be there for you. But it's also not want a power over. It doesn't come along and say, hey, I'm here. You have to ask for it. You have to look for it. You have to be willing to go out and discover it and find it, and then find out how it works within your life. And that's many of us over the last years have done that. We wanted to know about it. We were curious, and we probably were born being curious, and therefore we wanted to find out about what is this energy they talk about. But what if no one's talking about it? That's what concerns me. Some of the younger people, I find they just sort of look at you askance when you're talking about how you can. I have certain prayers that can work. People have other skills, healing skills, many things that they can utilize, but there's a big gap that seems to be happening, which concerns me, because what's going to happen when we've all dissipated, that talks about how this energy field is there for them if they choose it and want it, and there's nobody there to speak that. There's nobody there to say, this would be a good way of doing this, or a change of change of viewpoint here, or have you considered this, or have you considered that? What's going to happen when the balance is all into materialism? When all you're dealing with, what you have, and you don't really want to share it because you haven't been taught that you need to share, to give. What you put out, you get back, was a statement that I learned very early in my personal journey. And you have to think about that sometimes, because to learn a balance, it didn't happen overnight. I didn't wake up one day and have all the awarenesses. It was a journey I chose to take very young, actually, when I think about it. But I just kept plodding along, learning what I could do, and things were brought into my path. I had, I was going to say teachers come away, true. They had physical teachers, but I also had a lot of unphysical teachers. And I wonder, and I know I have to have trust and faith that there will be enough people that will come along and also want to find out more about how does this other unseen energy that loves and cares for us, wants the best for us, act into the world, and to allow them in, to allow that energy in, to allow the wonder that can come sometimes of the miracles that occur and happen, maybe not to you, but to others. And to realize how, if you allow yourself to be balanced, if you allow yourself to recognize there's an unseen world that the majority perhaps doesn't see, but many of us do see, and then to be able to bring that into where we are. So that's the beauty of number 8, balance, being balanced, balancing your emotions with your mental. Oh, in reverse, your mental with your emotions. Having, it's not sort of like not going off one way or the other, but keeping a nice, easy balance and recognizing your philosophy is as important as your material well-being. And that's what brings satisfaction. That's what brings love and light and joy and all those things, when you recognize that, how important it is to be at one. And there's many ways of getting there. And you just have to be open. And I always found the right person came along and taught me the next piece. It was like a big jigsaw puzzle I was putting together. And I thought I would have it, and something else would come along. And it's like, oh, that adds this or adds that. Life is a journey. And the journey begins when you take your first breath. And I guess it ends when you take your last. And that is a given. But in the middle, we get to experience things. And the one thing I love about the tarot is that it talks about all those experiences. It gives you a sense of awareness of who you are and where you're heading and where you're going. And on that, I just want to say, wish you well and wish you on your journey, wherever it may take you, that no matter what, just at the back of your head, you realize, am I in balance here? Or am I getting too far to one side or the other? And if in doubt, pick up a pen on a piece of paper, draw an 8. It will let you know right away, because your body talks to you in many different ways. So this draws to the close of number 8. Next Wednesday, I will be looking at the month of May. And then the following week, we'll be looking at number 9, which is the end of that particular journey. I want to wish you well on that, and I will be back on Sunday with a Sunday thought, and I will also be back Monday night with mental mind treatments. Believe it or not, I had an email this morning and said, next Monday, I would like you to do a treatment for this, and these are my 3 numbers. So that's always warms my heart when I see that happening. I want to wish you well. Thank you. Oh, by the way, thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for shares. Thank you for all the nice and kind words I'm receiving. I appreciate it. I look forward to speaking with you again very shortly. Thanks. Bye for now. I can't. Here we go.